If you don't know what Blender is one of the best, if not the best 3D design software out there. I've used Blender for over 3 years now, and I must say these guys' capabilities are over the roof. The developers keep updating the software so fast that sometimes it gets kind of overwhelming to keep up with the updates. So yeah, you are looking at Blender becoming the best industry standard 3D application program in a couple of years. Yeah, I did say that. Did I mention that it's totally free and open source? So yeah, that's enough blabbing about Blender. So today's tutorial is actually quite simple as usual. This video is not meant for anyone who is yet to try out Blender, but this video is geared towards someone or people who are already learning Blender at the beginner level. So what we're going to do today is we are going to look at how to render and export animations in Blender 3D. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, so here we are in Blender 3D. I'm using version 3.1.2. I'm sure there are newer versions, but this is the version we'll be using for now, alright? Alright, so I have Blender open, alright, and I'm using version 3.1.2. So to get started, I'm going to click on General over here. General, which is going to create a general new file for me in Blender. So I'm not going to go over the basics of Blender because that is not what this video is meant for. But maybe I might mention a couple of things, a couple of basic things in, using Blender 3D. All right. So very fast, very quick. We are not going to do any extra stuff. We are just going to stick to our main agenda over here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to split my screen into two, like so. Okay. So I assume that if you are watching this and then you are following me, either you want to get this beforehand, or maybe you are at this stage of Blender where you need to find out, or you want to learn how to export animations in Blender 3D. So I assume that splitting the screen is not something new to you. All right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click on this this editor type. Then I'm going to change my window up here to the video sequencer. Okay. And then I'm going to change this one down here to my timeline. Okay, so I have something like this. All right, so before we do any other thing, if you have your animations ready and then you have not yet exported your animations, you have to come down to the output properties over here, and then I'm going to go through the properties section with you. So over here you have the aspect ratio for your renders. You have 1920 by 1080. You can change it. You can tweak it to any resolution you want, so you can change it to maybe 1800 pixels by 1800. That's if you are exporting to Instagram, or you need a square format or a square resolution, a 1:1 ratio. All right, so the 100% is to have the exact resolution that you have inputted in the X and Y. Okay, so if I'm to change this to 150, it means that I am going to have 150% of my 1920 by 1080. Okay, so this is just to add a bit more size to your resolution. Okay, so come down to the frame range. For the frame range, you don't really need to touch it at all. I doubt you have to touch it. And to the most important part is the output. So the output, so when you are rendering animations in Blender 3D, the thing is that you can decide to render straight away in FFmpeg, that's the video format, or you can decide to render in an image sequence. All right, so with the image sequence, you can decide to go with PNG or JPEG. All right, so depending on your your choice, and then you decide which one you want to go with. So for me, normally what I do is that I go with the PNG. Okay, so over here I select my PNG and I make sure that I have the RGBA select, and then for the compression I don't touch it. And then so for the output section, this is where you choose where you want to export your animation. So when I click on the folder icon over there, we have a new window popping up where I decide, or I choose where I want to save my animation. So I'll select my desktop and then I would create a new folder. So let's name this folder export. It sounds like a dumb name, but well, let's go with it. So export, then so double click to open your export, and then down here you give the name for your file. So let's say you created an animation of a butterfly. All right, and then you want to give your image sequence a name, just one name, and then the thing is that when you give your image sequence one name, Blender actually adds some, the numbers to it to make it, in a sequence form. So if you use, let's say I name my image butterfly, all right, so Blender is going to name them as butterfly 1, butterfly 2, 3, 4, 5 based on the number of images you rendered. So I'm going to click on accept. Okay, so this is what we have here. So basically this is all you have to do your rendering. So after you have done this, I'm not going to go into the render properties because that is not what this video is meant for. Okay, so let's go straight ahead and click on render. So after that, you have to click on render. After rendering your animation, you should notice a lot of files depending on the number of frames that you choose. You should find a lot of files in the folder waiting for you. So after you have seen that, come back into Blender and then let's do this, and then do this all over again. If you want to export to your FFmpeg, all right, you press Shift A on your keyboard, select image sequence or image or sequence, and then find where you have saved your image sequence. So for me, my image sequence is around here. Let me find it. Leondi Designs, Leondi Animated Frames. So this is where I have my frames. Okay, so for this, I think I exported my animation in EXR format. I think with the EXR, someone I think it's Polyford. I learned from Polyford that the EXR is quite better than the PNG, so I decided to try it out. Okay, so I rendered in EXR. So let's just go EXR and PNG. I think they only have a slight difference. Okay, so what you have to do is that you select the first one and then press E on the keyboard to select all your frames, and then click on add image strip. Okay, so Blender will add your image strip in the sequencer for you. And then after you add your image strip, you notice that there is nothing to see. You are not seeing nothing. If you press space, which is to play on some versions, but on my version, I think I changed it. So if you press, let me take this back here. If you press play, you will notice that it plays, but you are not seeing anything. So what you have to do is that you have to change this sequencer up here to sequencer and preview. Okay, so you have another window up here for you where you have your preview. Okay, so now when you press on play, you will see a preview of your animation. Okay, so for the first time, I think it takes a while because it's kind of caching your animation into your your memory. So I think from the second time it's going to be smoother. So I'm going to skip this side. I think it's taking a while, so I'll skip this side until it gets smoother, and then we'll continue from there. All right, so my preview is taking quite longer than I expected, so I think I'm going to skip that aspect for now. So after you bring in your image strip or your image sequence into your timeline or the sequencer, now you have to, if your marker isn't really set to the end of the frame yet, you have to set that. So you have to place the marker right here at the end of your image sequence, and then where we have playback, you click on playback and then click on set end frame. Okay, so it will cut to that end for you, or you can even come to this side where you see start and end. So change the end to the end frame, which is 160 for me. Okay, and then you can, if your start is not on 1, just make sure it's on 1. Sometimes it can be on 0, so it depends on, it all depends on you. So after you have done all of this, and then you are ready, you are sure that you are ready, you've done your compositing and everything that you want to do in there, and then you want to export your animation, you have to go back to the output properties again. Okay, and then this time you can select the same location for the output. Okay, you can select the same location, or you can change the location if you want to. So after you select the location, for me it will be the same folder though, but I'm going to change so let me find export. Okay, so it will be the same folder, but I'm going to create another folder and name the folder final. Okay, then I'm going to open and then change the name to butterfly FF. Okay, here I'm giving I'm giving quite damn name. So click on accept. Okay, so after you have done that, you are going to change the PNG to FFmpeg video. Okay, and then come down to encoding. And so with the encoding, it's normally on Matroska. I don't know why. I don't know what that word means, Matroska, but change it from Matroska to MPEG 4, and then come down to the output quality, and then change that to perceptually lossless. Okay, if you think your machine can handle a higher or the highest, quality, you can choose lossless or constant bitrate. But what I normally use, I use perceptually lossless. I think I learned that from blender3D. Yeah, so select perceptually lossless, and then if you have any other audio, if you have an audio in your timeline, you can choose the format for your audio over here. But I don't have any audio in there, so I'm going to collapse that and collapse this video, collapse the encoding. So yeah, I'm done with everything. There is nothing more to select again. So after that, you have to come up here, click on render, and then click on render animation. So I'm going to render my animation, and then we are going to watch it as we come to the end of this tutorial. If you have found this video helpful and quite interesting, I would really appreciate if you can, like the video and then hit the subscribe button as well. And then hit the bell notification too, so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. All right. I would really appreciate this. And remember to share the video as well to anyone that you think this video would be helpful to. Yeah, so thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, my name is Christopher. I'm a digital artist and YouTuber, podcaster, and content creator in Ghana here. If you want to see more of my works, if you want to follow me on social media, I'll make sure to leave a link to my socials in the description. All right, so you can check it out in the description. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video.